Hey kiddos, it was awesome to see you guys today at our Google Meet, and I loved hanging out with you. As far as our lesson for today, which is going to be Wednesday, we're going to do a little bit of geometry work, but we're going to use something that you guys are familiar with all the way since before even preschool, is the alphabet, all right? So I have put in both Google Classroom, and your folks have this in their emails. This sheet of the alphabet would be really great for you to have printed off, so you can have it like printed and beside you when you're doing your work for today. If you don't print it off, you can kind of just toggle back and forth between screens, but you are going to have to look at this sheet of the letters to kind of help answer your questions, because what we're going to do is see what geometric figures or shapes live inside of each of the letters of the uppercase alphabet. So that's kind of what our task is for today. And you'll see too that this is the second set of sheets that I gave your folks, and they're also in Google Classroom. There's like a chart here, and it goes through all the letters of the alphabet, and then it lists across the top different types of our geometric shapes we've been talking about this week. Your task is to kind of look at those letters and figure out, does A have at least one line segment in it? And if it does, put an X right there in that column. Does A have any parallel line segments? Well, if you're not sure what's parallel again, you have some really great anchor sheets and some other activities that we worked on this week that have definitions, so you can pull those out and use them as well. So you're just going to go through each letter of the alphabet. Does it have this? Does it have this, this, and this? And if it has all of them, then I should see X's in every box going across your sheet. If it has one, doesn't have one, has one, doesn't have one, it's whatever each letter has by itself that's going to make you mark these off. Now, if you just want to do the sheet in Google Classroom, it's going to be in the classwork section of Google Classroom, and all you have to do is just open up the document, and you can type X's right on the document. So this sheet doesn't have to be printed off at all. You can just submit it to me when you're done, and we'll be good to go. If you do print it off though, and you want to hand mark all the X's in all the boxes, that's something that you need to scan or take a picture of and send it to me when you're all done, okay? One thing I want to show you though is with some of your letters, right? Because like some of these, you're going to look at this and go, oh my gosh, yeah, there's line segments there, there's angles there. Those are pretty clear cut to see, especially on letters like A, F, K. Those are like all straight line segments, right? So those would be pretty easy. But then you have these other ones that look like P, U, Q, G, B. These are types of letters that might not be as easy to figure out. So when I actually saw this in the lesson for today, it kind of was one of those mind-blown things where, you know, I put my hands on the side of my head and go, when I saw this. Let's look at letter B. So I'm going to draw a B, right? And if you're like me, when I draw a B, it is a straight line, and then I kind of curve it, and I got a B. And that's how I've been making B's like my entire life. Well, really, if you look at the letter B from a geometry standpoint, okay, here's what it is, right? All right. What's this letter? Everybody shouting out to me right now. Say it so I can hear you. E, yeah, that's an E. Well, in order to make a B, what they do is they actually use 1, 2, 3, 4 line segments. So there are line segments in the letter B, but then what they do is they connect the ends with an arc. And that's really how a B is made. It's made up of line segments connected with a half circle or an arc at the end of it. So you got to kind of retrain your brain. A B isn't like a straight line and then half a circle and half a circle. It's really a straight line, a straight line, a straight line. I should be saying line segment, right? Not a line. And connecting each of those line segments is a half of a circle. And I know that looks like a funky B, and it's not like what we make when we actually go fast. But if you kind of make these lines, bring them around again, that's really the kind of focus point that I want you to think about for today. So a B, does it have line segments? Yeah, it does. I just showed you. Remember, if I take these away, A B has 1, 2, 3, 4 line segments. So knowing that a B has 4 line segments, an E also is going to have 4 line segments, right? But the difference between a B and a D is that the B has those half circles on the end of it. Now, a D is going to be kind of the same thing. Here's my line segment for D, right? And if I take half of a circle, I've got a D. So it's got a line segment there. Now, oh, you know what? Erase what I said. See, this is hard for me to even remember now. So a D is going to be like this. It's going to have a line segment and a line segment. So D really has 1, 2, 3 line segments, and then it's got that half circle on the end. So I kind of fell into my own trap there, making a D the old way. So a D has 1, 2, 3 line segments, and then the half circle on the end. All right, let's look at another guy. Here's letter P, right? It's got the long line segment. It's got 2 little line segments that come out like this. It almost looks like an F. And then at the end of the F, they put in a circle to make the P. So P's got 1, 2, 3 line segments to it. P is going to be just like R then. So here is my long R line segment for the top part of the R. I've got those 2 line segments. So I'm basically starting with an F again. I'm rounding out the half circle, and then I'm bringing another line segment down off of there. So an R actually has 1, 2, 3, 4 line segments to it, okay? Now, here's the one that I thought was the weirdest of all. Here's the letter U, right? Now, a capital U doesn't come back down. If I was making a lowercase u, it's kind of one of those things, right? And it's got that little line segment that comes down here. Well, what math-wise, when you make a U, here's what you're really doing. And it's almost like what we did with B's and D's and P's and R's, except my line segments on the U are going to come down and come down. And then at the end of those line segments, I connect them with a half circle. And that's what makes my U. So a U actually has 1, 2 line segments as well. So a lot of times when we get in a rush and over the years and years, here's a B, right? There's a D, there's an R, there's a P. It doesn't look like they have line segments to them, but we're actually not making them the most perfect way mathematically that we could make them. So that's why I wanted to kind of show you how each of these letters, B, D, P, R, and U, are actually made up of line segments. So when you come to this section of your alphabet sheet that you're doing this, your first column says contains at least 1 line segment. Well, some people might be looking at some of these letters and go, like let me go to U, which is going to be on the second page here. If I look at a U, which is right here, I would be tempted to say there's no line segments there. It's just one great big curved line. It starts here and it loops down. But remember, if we break a U out, it's really got 1, 2 line segments, and then it connects on the end with a half circle. So I would be putting an X for contains 1 line segment under the U. The rest of the letters are pretty self-explanatory. You are going to have to know things like acute angles, obtuse angles, right angles, perpendicular lines, parallel lines, intersecting lines. That's where the worksheets that you guys worked on for today are going to come in really handy. These 2 guys here. This sheet right here has some definitions of those exact things on here. And the sheet that you did for sort of like your exit slip where you put the letters on the lines up above and you have all those definitions down below. If you're not quite 100% sure what's an intersecting line, go back and read these definitions and that will help you with that, all right? So I don't know, I've not ever done this assignment before. It's something that San Francisco Math had, and when I did it, I thought it was kind of fun. It is going to be a little bit challenging because you got to go through all 26 letters of the alphabet, and you've got 7 different categories. You have to ask yourself for every one of the letters, all right? Now, don't breeze through this and go, yep, and not really think. You've got to think your way through each of these letters to see, does it have these geometric shapes in them, okay? Now, if I'm going to go back to the B's for one more thing before I let you go. So we've already established that a B is really made up of 1, 2, 3, 4 line segments, and it's also connected with your half circles on the ends to make the B's. Now, the thing that you may not have thought of is that, there's a right angle, there's a right angle, there's a right angle, and there's a right angle. So B actually is made up of right angles as well. So when you look at these different things for angle shapes, knowing a right angle, obtuse angle, acute angle is going to be really important. All right. So you know what? We'll give it a shot. This is a new sort of curriculum with San Francisco Math. We'll see how the assignment works out, and I think you'll have some fun with it. Maybe it'll be a little bit of struggle, but that's okay. You know me, I'm okay with some challenges. But this will be kind of your assignment for the rest of the day. Go through all 26 letters, fill out the chart, and then submit it if you're doing it in Google Classroom, or snap a shot or a scan and send it to me by email so I know that you got it done. All right. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for our last day of instruction together. All right. Bye, guys.